Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Isaac Wolf, and joining me today is one of my good friends and my co-founder of uh, of our pod, Brandon Alvarado. How's it going, buddy?
What is up? What is up? What is up? Dora ra 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 ra.
Okay, that was cringy.
I mean, that's what happens whenever the so I don't know what's cringier, the fact that supernatural energy has makes word sounds like like we see in the manga, or the fact that every demon has a particular word that they like to repeat. I don't know.
I
It's an
mean,
it's an interesting trend.
yeah, and yeah, you can kind of say that, but in this episode, we are going to cover chapter 4 and 5, and and we are starting with chapter 4, which is combined strength. And we all see how well it all start off with yet another reason of why we joke about how uh, our our little Mononoke friend is a merchandise, considering well what happens when he rush. He use him as a uh, hat, and well, more on that later. But I was just asking because this is the next. It also chapter that we see she can or the female. I can't recall the name of the female
Jinchio.
samurai in Chios. Thank you. I was and I just love the fact that she messes with them so that she's calling them 3 in the morning just for the sake of checking out how they can handle a Mononoke, and just he is getting pissed at first, but yes, uh, you want to be essentially you do know that samurais need to be on guard at every time, pretty much. And I need to ask you one thing. If I don't know, there is a scene where she falls down and claims that she gets sort of like she acts paralyzed. Was that on purpose just to test him, if I might ask?
So it's funny because the scene you're talking about is this one right here. So
Yeah.
so the whole thing is that is not that she's just sitting there, which this is one of it's funny you mentioned that's one of the points that I was gonna make. One of the things that I love about this scene is because so she calls them to test him, right? What I love about this chapter is that this is the chapter where we're exploring um, what the new status quo is, right? The new dynamic. It's not
Yeah.
just Kusanagi and Dora uh, figuring out how to kill Mononoke together. They've been recruited by this somewhat high-ranking samurai called Ginchiyu Gayu, which is apparently super strong, super speed, pretty much the Kakashi of the series, right?
Sort of.
And she has all the quirkiness and all the sensibilities that you would expect from a leader and from someone that knows her strength. But at the same time, she is so nuanced and quirky and weird. She's like the nerd girl. You know how you have two types of like typical nerd girl stereotypes? Like you have the very, very shy one that's like super smart, and like in that movie, like she's all that, right? She's like the one that's very shy, but if she gets like cleaned up or whatever, she'll be like the most popular person in town, right? But she reminds me a lot, even though she's not as aggressive, but she reminds me a lot of Hermione from Harry Potter, where she
Okay.
where she is like in your face because she knows what she's about. Like she's not gonna let you make her feel smaller. She's gonna make sure that you know that she knows who she is and what she can do. You know what I mean? She's that type of strong female lead. And in this case, she is so sure of her abilities that even though she knows there is a Mononoke here tonight, she says, "Well, I want to see what you guys can do. So I'm gonna, my legs gave out. I'm gonna sit here and let you protect me." And she's doing it to test them, like to see how they can fight together, to see if they really are an asset to the samurai forces. But she's like, so you got to think she's doing this because if things get out of hand, she is more than confident in her abilities that she'll be able to save them both.
Yeah.
But what I like about this chapter is that the complete opposite happens. You know, even though she plays dead, um, you're able to see that how well they work together. And what I mean that is Dora and Kusanagi. But not only that they work together when they're together, they work together well when they're apart because they intrinsically and without any shred of doubt, they believe in each other. Like they both know that their resolve is like they're both going to do what needs to be done to save the day. You know what I mean? Which is one of those cheesy, corny kind of things that you love from like great hero movies, right? But it's here, and I'm for it. I'm here for it. I like that. I like that dynamic. I like the idea of these characters depending on each other, and I like the distinction and the contrast of these very happy go-getter, um, optimistic heroes against these very, very, very dark and crazy forces. I mean, one of the things we talked about, like in previous chapters, when we covered previous chapters, is the designs for these monsters. I mean, look at this. Like, this is like, to me, this is like next level stuff. You know what I mean? Especially the way it looks. Like, it's very artistic, very peculiar. You know what this reminds me of? This, at least this one in particular. You know what it reminds me a lot of, Isaac?
No?
It has a lot of Princess Mononoke vibes, like from that, like that pig that's a demon, and like in the beginning of the movie, and like the one that damages
Yeah.
Ashitaka. It has
Maybe it's
those
sort of like a, what's it called?
an inspiration.
Reference to it? Inspiration
Yeah,
reference?
yeah, that's definitely very possible. And it just makes me think like maybe that's what they're going for with the series with those designs. Um, and it just works. I think it works very, very well. Um, but it is kind of funny that just like so Dora picks Jinshio and is running away from the pig as they're following it, and Jinshio says, "Let me go. I don't like you carrying me because she's not a princess and she just wants to kick ass." And he says, "No, you don't have. Remember, you let Steve out. I gotta protect you."
Uh, and it's also he believes the whole. It's all the. It just shows the synergy between them when he sort of like they reunite and
Yeah.
just takes down. And I love the end panels about it when it's just. I'm so awesome! Recruited a red hair punk in the winter looking
Exactly. She's
Mononoke.
like,
Call it instinct. Call it a good eye. Call it the
yes,
institution. Yeah,
Yes.
amazing.
Like she's
But
she's
what
like
a
she
weirdo.
just pats. Yeah. She's like I know I am the best, right? I am the best. Yeah, she's a weird character, but I actually really love the character because of it. It's pretty awesome. She's pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying Jinshio, and I can't wait to see where the character goes and how it grows and how it develops. And now I like how the new status quo is that they're gonna go on missions with her, and I like what she brings to the dynamic because she's so quirky. How awesome she is never comes off as too strong. You know what I mean? Like like sometimes when you have a character's like that's overpowered or like ranks above the main character, sometimes there can be like a disconnect, right? You know what I mean? Because the two characters are too far away of each other. But I like the dynamic that they have, that because even though she's so awesome, she's also like so down to earth at the same time and somewhat maybe too down to earth. Especially when we see in the next chapter the dynamic and how it develops. But yeah, I like the new status quo. I like the fact that this is going to be what we're going to be doing for a while, going on missions like this. Um, and I figured we can jump into chapter 5, right?
Yeah,
Um,
which shows shows maybe why she's so hungry of going up in the ranks more than just getting power.
yeah,
If you catch my drift,
yeah,
considering we have the traditional one of the teammates has rich background kind of thing.
yeah. Like
With
she wants to make a
her,
name for herself. Like
yeah,
she doesn't seem attached to the whole thing about okay, my parents are rich, so I get everything from my parents. I like that.
yeah,
I like that she wants to be her own self, right?
yeah, and we now get introduced to the whole mansion, and obviously her parents aren't isn't there as per usual in a shonen.
Because
Um,
reasons, right?
yeah, and I I honestly just the whole when they meet her quote unquote servant and they see the iron pillars. That's it. That's is essential for me. Is honestly a very clever and quick sort of like a sidetrack on how strong she really is.
Yeah, yeah,
Honestly, if you did, you didn't really have to shown her being so quickly when she talked with them before she hired them.
right,
That this alone could have been a sort of like a subtle way of showing it off.
right,
Honestly,
right. Like and it's doing it through a lot of different little bits and pieces because also like in this same chapter, what I was going to say, it's good that you mentioned that, is that now we're starting to get a feel of power scaling, because you know how that becomes in a show like this, in a series like this, power scaling is a big thing. Why? Because when it comes to a shonen that action is a big part of its DNA, there needs to be a story, there needs to be a growth in the action. Does that make sense? Like if Dragon Ball was a thing and the only move that Goku ever learned in the 20 years that it's been going on is Kamehameha, that would be kind of boring. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like every
yeah,
time he grew, every time he evolved, every time he added an ability, fights became fresh again. Like we know, like yes, a lot of people lost their minds whenever he became Super Saiyan, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty fascinated with the whole instant transmission thing. Like that ability was just so awesome and interesting. You know what I mean? And the fact that he picked it up off screen and he would just use it and it was just super cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I like
and
how. Go ahead.
yeah, I like that one, and also obligatory. In I don't can if you can show the picture from the Wisp app yourself. Just indicate even more why I'm talking about how our little Mononoke friend is just designed as a.
Oh, the helmet.
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about the helmet. I'm talking about the stuffed animals
Oh yeah.
part.
So it's funny that you say that because um I, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna show it. So I actually that's one of the pictures that I actually picked because it also kind of like illustrates how kind of crazy she actually is because it has those weird like everything's okay vibe, everything's okay vibe, everything's okay vibe, and you see Kusanagi just sweating, like okay, what's going on? And it's like probably 2 chapters ago she was planning on killing him as a test because everything's a test, right? And now it's like, so why'd you invite me to your house? Oh, to just because for this. What do you mean? I wanted to pet Kusanagi. What? That's the only reason. Like, I love how Dora freaks out, and you can see Kusanagi's kind of freaking out because this kind of also shows like, even though they're working together, like to a degree, Kusanagi only trusts Dora. You know what I mean?
I mean, can you blame him?
You cannot, you can't blame him at all. But like, this is one of those moments that it shows that it illustrates the fact that like Kusanagi is scared because he's now getting to connect with a lot more people. But I also like how Dora constantly is defending him and protecting him and believing in him. And Jinshi was kind of like, even though of course she's made very clear that she's just using them to advance her career and maybe save lives. Um, yeah, this was one of those funny ones. Like, hey guys, he has a room full of stuffed animals, and she doesn't pick a stuffed animal. She grabs Kusanagi and just pet. And I love how you see all the different kanji going like pet, 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 pet. Like
Yeah.
it's letting you know like she's doing it like frenetically, like crazy, like a mad person. That's
But I wanted to do this since the first time I laid eyes on Kushan. You're such a cutie, and I'm
yeah.
not even subtle about
No,
the
and
design being
now Kusanagi is
merchandise
cute
worth.
as fuck. Kusanagi
Yeah,
is cute as fuck. I mean, it is. He is. So, so you can't. You're right. You can't blame him. You can't blame him. So yeah, and I'm going back to the power scaling. Like one of like you can see in the action, right? Um, in the previous chapter, like the action is pretty cool. It's very intense. We haven't seen Dora do anything different. Like we kind of see him doing the same katana move again. Um, so so you can see here how Kusanagi becomes the katana, and he uses it to destroy this pig monster. Uh, and of course, you can see the whole thing with the sword with Kusanagi's eye. So it's something we've seen before. So like this is the ability that he's comfortable with, and and this is something that he does very very well,
but that
and it's
was the
awesome.
previous chapter.
Right, right. But I'm doing it to show the power scaling. And now in this particular chapter, which is pretty cool, you see him do something different and using Kusanagi differently as an assist item, like a support item. It's like it's very RPG like, you know? Like you
Yeah,
have, especially in this scene where number one, we are we're introduced to the whole idea of special skills or fighting styles because apparently Jin Shiyu has a particular fighting style and has particular abilities and slashes. Um, and then you see freaking Dora with a big fan. just blowing stuff in her direction, which is pretty cool because I can only imagine Dora just doing everything he can to support. Like, if anybody was an assist trophy, is Dora right now. Um,
Yeah,
hence,
you can
hence
say that
smash reference.
yeah, you can say that the idea of the weapon was fantastic.
Ah, damn it! You're not even shy about it. That's so bad. Um,
I mean, you can't blame me. It was just set up so perfectly.
yeah, but I like that they're starting to show this development of there's a skill set, there's abilities, there's somewhere to grow because now it makes me think how Dora and Kusanagi are going to be particular because how do you grow a fighting style that's based on a relationship of two people? You know what I mean? And that's where it gets like very soul eater like, and it gets very like Digimon like, especially with the D trainers like season 3, where like the final Digi evolution, it was a fusion of the Digimon and the trainer, right? Like like I wonder how they're gonna find those ways to create those combinations to actually show growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Now, in these two chapters, though, more than anything, I got so many Pokemon vibes with Kusanagi just because of the different things that he would do. Because he kind of acts like a pet, but acts like another character. And then, you know what I mean? The whole thing in battle, how he's indispensable is just, which is super cool because it has all those elements that make it cool. And I like how the manga and the creator as it is able to take all these ideas and make them unique enough for them to be interesting. So I'm glad we're covering it, man. Everything looks so good. So far, nothing crazy interesting has happened. Like this is still a very early stages. But I like what I'm reading. I'm enjoying it a lot. And I hope you guys do too and check it out and cover it with us every week.
it's how many chapters is it in right now? Don't have. Let me check.
I think it's in 13. I think 13 just came out.
Yeah, I think it's 13 also. And that chapter was a blast, let me tell you that. I'm looking forward to what you think of it whenever we start when we covering that. Yeah,
Yeah.
13.
Yeah. We're getting up there.
It's and it feels like this is something that they believe in because otherwise I think they would have canceled it by now. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah. It's been going on for a couple months. It's been pretty good. A weekly title. Um, I'm very excited and I'm enjoying it a lot. So
yeah,
I guess that's it, Isaac.
yeah. And so, where can be people find you, buddy?
They can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Instagram, and at the Scarlet Fan 52 on TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing there, but I'm there now. That's where they can find me.
Yeah, and you can find my work over at Moblem Entertainment, and you can find me at Emblemaniac on Twitter. And well, you can find a pod on Amateur Talk Pod and every other podcast site that's exist. Although stuff like this is YouTube exclusive. But have it awesome, have it awesome, everyone. Peace.
Have it awesome. You.